Hey, what's going on, everyone? Good morning. Good morning. I apologize for the tardy start here. It just always takes a few minutes extra to get going, especially on a Saturday morning. A Saturday morning after you've been commuting to the office all week on the metro. A Saturday morning when it is 13 degrees. Let me see. What's the 18 degrees when it's 18 degrees outside and you maybe want to stay in the bed. Okay. It's hard to get going sometimes on the weekends. How cold is it where you guys are? The wind is, you guys can't see it there on my window because the glare from the daylight's coming in, but the wind is gusting outside and it is cold. It is cold. And my intention, as my father says, shout out to my father, my intention is to go to it's a yoga class. There's a yoga class around noon. And my intention is to go to that class. Part of me wants to stay in here where it's warm and where it's comfy, but it's just hard after commuting all week. And then when it's cold and frigid on the weekends. Okay. How cold is it where you guys are? Let me know what you think, or let me know what it's like there in the chat. Does this feel like, shout out to Al Gore, does this feel like the oceans are boiling and 10 megaton bombs are going off? It doesn't feel like that here. Michael, you're the first one in. Thank you for being here. I think this is going to be review for a lot of you guys. Passport OG, salute to Passport OG. He clipped off a part of this in one of his many offerings earlier this week. That's actually how I found out about this. I'm aware and I know of Bret Weinstein, but Passport OG clipped this, and that's what turned me on to it. It's a short video, so I think yeah, I'll be on and off relatively quickly with enough time to get to yoga class. All right. I'll see you on the other side of the intro. This is me and the nameless protagonist talking about the Mouse Utopia. I got to get that brother back because it seems as though everything is unfolding right now in front of our eyes, and we're seeing the front stages of it. Okay, so we have a point of view here. Godcat2926 says Weinstein and the intellectual dark web of billionaires are trying to destroy peer review, and with RFK at the helm, it's just getting worse and worse. Thank you for that. I'm going to admit that I don't know a lot about Bret Weinstein. There was a point at which I think on my original channel, my main channel, or maybe it was here, I covered his brother Eric jousting with Terrence Howard on the Joe Rogan show. And I did, when I was making that content, I said, wait a minute, is it Eric or is it Brett? Is it Eric or is it Brett? And it turns out they're brothers. Okay, so they're brothers. Godcast, thank you. Go blue. All right. A few words from the world famous nameless protagonist. So I'm thinking about what you're saying, and I think this is the significance of when you say the technology is running so far out ahead of the biology, right? Because it's almost shattering that part of our natural programming.
So what's going on, what that really talks to is the reason why it's done that way is our systems operate on a seniority-based modality. So the older the particular system we've adopted, the more powerful that neurological pathway and impulse. That's why these studies are critical. Everything in our biology is predicated on these kinds of principles. The reasons why we were able to evolve as a group, because there were certain things that we were able to lean on from the group aggregate existence that allows for us to do things as individuals that are defined as healthy. And when you begin to do wholesale swapping out on a one-for-one of social modality versus technological introduction, then you begin to atrophy a lot of these things and you start having deficiencies in ways you had no idea, or you get unintended emergent behavior, as we're seeing with the behavioral sinks, for example. It's all connected to social roles, in my subjective opinion.
Welcome to Big Discussions 76, Science and Technology. Science and technology stories are all around us, and there are always science and technology stories to tell. There are always science and technology stories to tell. Guys, and any gals that are watching, on that same vein of personal health and taking care of yourself, for those of you who are in the know of Dr. Tiasan Johnson, he posted pictures on Facebook, and I think here in the YouTube streams to his subs, about him having a procedure. I won't go into detail about that, but I'm just going to say this: Gold Professor is there in the chat. Salute to you, Gold Professor. As we progress in age, taking care of ourselves, taking care of yourself, becomes of the utmost importance. Your metabolism changes. You start to get aches and pains, sometimes random. Fortunately, sometimes some of them go away, and then some things show up and they are there with you for the long term. So as you progress, it's very, very important that you stay on top of your diet. It's very, very important that you try to stay as nimble and flexible as possible, that you keep trying to challenge your body even when it hurts. On my community tab, I posted a video from what's this guy's name? I watch him for some health and nutrition stuff, but he made a really good video about doing lunges every day. Give me a second here. I want to give his name. Dr. Sten Ekberg. Dr. Sten Ekberg. So that's on my community tab. I don't know who needed to see it. I needed to see it. And so right now I'm trying to, because of the benefits he described in that video, I'm going to try to work in doing 25 lunges twice a day here at home, at the office. Apparently there are a lot of benefits. Anyway, let's go. Let's get into today's topic. So Brett Weinstein's concern for the future of humanity. So I was able to go on to use one of the AI, I think it was Google Labs, and create the thumbnail for this live stream, which is I think I typed in create an apocalyptic picture of a deserted New York City. So I was thinking in terms of Will Smith's I Am Legend, where they created the virus to take out cancer, and it caused the zombie apocalypse. So in that movie, what it did, it created basically vampire-like creatures that could only come out at night. And so in this case, New York City, where Will Smith's character was, it was pretty much a ghost town during the daylight. Okay, and it was overrun with vegetation, and there were cars everywhere. There were relics of society and civilization from years past, and the city was abandoned. Okay, so that's what I was shooting for with the thumbnail for this stream, because this whole discussion, these talking points we're going to see from Bret Weinstein, and other people are advancing them now. I started talking about this once I became aware. In my family, I'm in the Black community, in the Black manosphere, Black America, whatever. I think those in the chat know that 54% of Black men are single and childless. So I'm in that camp at this time, and I may be in that camp for the rest of my life. But and that's we've spent time in my family talking about that. But it's not just our family. There's something happening society wide and species wide. Okay. And I thought that Mr. Weinstein pulled out some interesting points when discussing this. It's a 7-minute video. And there's something happening. And we could very well see what we saw in I Am Legend, okay, in New York City and across the entire, what we know as the entire human civilization. Okay, we could see something like that, and it makes you wonder. I think you all saw what happened over the last 2 days with the current, our current president, and what sparked backlash on his Truth Social account, the little snippet of the Obamas. I don't know. A lot of these things that we're seeing now are these distractions from what's really going on and the true dangers and the true seismic events happening under our feet. Are a lot of these things distracting? Are they here to distract us? Because in my Facebook network, people were livid over that. People were livid and posting pictures of the Obamas, and this is a real first couple. Okay, this is a true president and a true first lady. Okay, but nobody's talking about this. Nobody's talking about Eric. I'm sorry, I got him confused again. No one's talking about Bret Weinstein's concern, or why Andrew Tate has resurfaced with his messaging. Shout out to the master teacher. He has asserted that there is a reason that they have set Andrew Tate loose again to espouse his messaging. Are these all these? So going back, are all of these things distractions for the masses to keep them not looking at what's really going on? I don't know. Podcast 926. Godcast. I said podcast. Godcast 926. You're pretty active this morning. I appreciate that. He says they probably, so there's a heart emoji there. They probably should be worrying more about Black men making it past 50 without a fatal heart issue. Who is they? Who is they? Godcat. See, I said Godcast. It's Godcat 926. Everybody, please smash that like button. If you're not subbed to the channel, please consider subbing to the channel. UFO Kamikaze has entered the building. All right. So it's always fun when UFO Kamikaze shows up in addition to other members of the gang. All right. Before I show the Brett, not Eric, the brothers, before I show the Bret Weinstein video, let's just take a quick look at who Brett is. And then I have some other biology 101 basics that I want to go over with you guys. Yeah, guys, don't say anything bad about the Obamas, man. The Obamas, the Obamas are holy. Don't say anything bad about the Obamas, no matter how unhappy Michelle seems sometimes about having been first lady and what she had to sacrifice to be first lady, and no matter how many seemingly disparaging things she says about Barry, don't say anything bad about them. They are holy. Bret Weinstein. Is it Weinstein or Weinstein? That is a Jewish name. So I think him and his brother are Jewish. Bret Weinstein. Bret Weinstein. Let me blow this up. Bret Samuel Weinstein. See, I'm trying to find a middle ground between the two pronunciations. I'll just say Weinstein. Brett Samuel Weinstein is an American podcaster, author, and former professor of evolutionary biology. Okay, so this is in his wheelhouse. Okay, this birth rate crisis, the genders not getting along and pairing off and creating new generations. This is his wheelhouse. Okay. So he's a Gen Xer. He's a few years older, about 7 years older than me. I just dated myself. He's written several books. Oh, he's a Michigan guy. Okay. It looks like he finished probably his, I don't know if he was a professor there. That's his 2009, or if he himself was a graduate student. That means we might have overlapped. University of Pennsylvania, so Ivy League, University of California, Santa Cruz. He is married. He has one brother, Eric. That was the guy who was entertaining Terrence Howard on Joe Rogan. And then his thesis was evolutionary trade-offs, emergent constraints, and their adaptive consequences. Okay, so that is a little bit about who this guy is and why we should care. Because there are some people, particularly from the boomer generation, from my community, who look at this and say, why are you showing us this white guy? Well, white guys have some important things to say, okay, that we should listen to, I think, and when it's important, okay. I don't think important things have a color. All right. Michael says Weinstein. All right. So from this point on, I will attempt to pronounce it as Weinstein. Brett Weinstein. All right. Biology 101. All right. Very, very quick. I promise. Very, very quick. Please smash that like button if you guys want to donate something. My information is there in the ticker. I'm not monetized over here. And I might never be monetized over here, but that's okay. That's okay. Because I do it for the love. We're doing it to learn. Ecology. Okay. At Johnson C. Smith University, there's my golden bull. Shout out to Marcus Williams. You never mentioned Johnson C. Smith University in your content. You only mentioned Michigan. Well, here you go, Marcus. Some of my foundational classes from my general biology degree were zoology, evolution, ecology, and botany. Okay, so those were the basics, some of the basics, right? So when you're thinking about ecology, you're thinking about how different species live together in a particular space. Okay. You have going back to life sciences in the 7th grade, you have producers there at the bottom. Those are usually photosynthetic organisms. Those are, and then you have herbivores, which eat those producers. Those are plant eaters. And then you have, as you go up the food chain, you have carnivores, first level carnivores, second level carnivores, right? And then you have omnivores who eat both plant matter and animal matter. Okay. And then once all those things finish living, you have decomposers who break us down and break turtles and alligators and plants down and return it to the biosphere to create new living things. But when you think about ecology, you're thinking about how populations of different organisms are living together. Okay. How they keep each other in check. Okay. And in some instances, how they reproduce. How and why do the males and females of a particular species pair off and procreate? How does that happen? What happens if you kill off a member of this food chain? Okay, in some instances, if you kill off that top level, I'm going to end this soon. If you kill off that top level consumer, the whole food chain can go out of whack because there's nothing to keep the other levels in check population wise. Okay, so in nature there are all these natural checks and balances that keep everything in order. So if you take out something, the whole thing can go astray. Okay, and we've seen that over and over again. And some certain species keep other species in check. Okay, that's a high level discussion of population ecology. So let's zoom into sexual species. Sexual species, you have a man and a woman, a male and a female. At least the rest of the animal kingdom does. Humans, now we have cis. We have half males, half females, males who can have babies, men who have uteruses. So human beings now we have all kinds of things. Okay, but we don't. Me and the nameless protagonist, we talked about this during the Mouse Utopia experiments. We don't have a natural predator now because human beings, and Mr. Weinstein is going to say this in his video, because of our brains, because we've been able to create all of this, we don't really have a natural predator anymore. Okay, so we don't have anything hunting us down. We're comfortable. We're in heated condominium units. We have cars and the internet. We go shopping at supermarkets. So there's nothing naturally, aside from an extinction level event, shout out to Black Uru, we have nothing threatening our species. Okay. So now when you have nothing threatening your species, then reproduction arguably becomes a choice. And then also, as he'll describe, with the invention of technologies like birth control, now it becomes even more of a choice. Okay. So those things can cause a species to break down. Okay. What else can cause species to break down? If you strip the men in a sexual species, if you strip the men out of the families, okay, all hell can break loose. And we've seen that in certain communities. I did a live stream on this a little while ago, citing some words by Judge Joe Brown. So we know that if you strip out the men, then the entire community, the entire population will suffer, irrespective of what your progressives and your feminists say today. Once you start tampering with what a man and a woman are, and if you get to a point where you can't quite say what a man and a woman are, that's dangerous, because you're going to confuse everything. You're going to confuse the polarity. You're going to confuse the importance and the role of each gender. Okay. So as human beings, not only are we comfortable, not only are we technologically advanced, but we've also started fooling with what Dr. Thunder would call the natural order. And when you start fooling with the natural order in terms of spirituality, Dr. Thunder hangs out in that sandbox quite a bit. But when you start tampering with the biology, okay, things are going to come off the rails. Okay. When you start tampering with gender roles, okay, things are going to come off the rails. I don't think I talked about Chesterton's fence here, but there's a principle called Chesterton's fence, which basically says that fences were put in place for a reason. And once you start removing fences that were put there for a reason by previous generations, you don't know what's going to happen. Okay. And we as a species have started doing that. Godcat, okay, I don't know who you're talking to here. Okay, so you're not a real doctor scientist, you're a quack. Got it. Is that towards me? That's not very nice. Okay, I don't know if that's toward me or to someone else here in the chat, but regardless, We're going to soldier on either way. All right. So that's my little preamble to this video. Someone, Godcat926, you said also said infertility is the natural order, as well as Klinefelter syndrome and intersex. It's all the natural order. Okay, so let's jump into this video. It's not a long one, but it's very stark and it's very sobering. And gradually, this messaging is starting to advance and it's starting to get out. Okay, he says, well, you said it right there. Biology 101, not advanced biology. See, they should just teach advanced biology as regular biology. Okay. All right. This is starting to get out now. Andrew Tate has been unleashed. Okay. But also Stephen P. Shaw, who did the documentary Birth Gap. Okay. I haven't watched it yet. I'm not in a hurry to watch it because I think it's going to be a little bit depressing. Okay. But Stephen P. Shaw has been trying to ring this bell for quite a bit. A lot of your big time podcasters, Stephen Bartlett, Chris Williams, I think Tom Bellew, I think they've all started covering this. But I don't know that MS Now or CNN, they're more concerned about what's happening in Minneapolis. I don't think any of them are covering this now. In the last presidential election, I don't think the Democratic side covered this, but more people are starting to cover this. So let's take a look. All right, we're at 27 minutes. And these points he's gonna discuss. These are points that have come up in the YouTube streets. Do men and women, boys and girls, do we even like each other anymore? If not, why? Why not? Can it be fixed? Have things been re-engineered beyond the point of being able to fix them? And I got in trouble for saying that here by saying on one of my channels that the gender roles, the genders have been re-engineered. And lo and behold, everybody's saying it now. I'm not taking credit for it. I'm just saying I got scolded for it. And asserting that publicly will offend some people, even if it's true. All right. This is a very powerful 7 minutes. The deal between men and women is broken. Well, who broke it and why, and what are the after effects? Can humanity recover from this deal being broken? What say you, Bret Weinstein?
Even this divergence, and I guess what could the consequences of this be?
Well, I think the puzzle might be simpler than it looks, but the diagnosis is starker. You effectively have a cascade of unforeseen consequences of, on the one hand, birth control that is reliable, and on the other hand, feminism, for lack of a better term.
Unforeseen by whom? Who didn't see any of this coming? Who didn't see any of this coming?
That sensibilities of the moment and technologies radically altered the relationship between men and women. That altered relationship did not get a coherent replacement. And the system we currently have is disruptive of all of the normal things that allow men and women to partner and be prosperous as a result of doing so.
Brent, thank you for this correction. I think I said Stephen P. Shaw. I guess it's Stephen J. Shaw. All right, everybody, it's one or the other. But but we'll lean towards Brent C here. Stephen J. Shaw, birth gap. All right, Stephen Shaw.
At the moment, what I see when I talk to young people is I don't think that young men and women like each other anymore. I think they've both got the ick.
Okay. I think in his video, this is where Passport OG asserted that he wishes that he could talk to Mr. Weinstein and say, okay, it seems more like the women don't like the men. We don't see videos of decentering women. We don't see videos of women are trash. We don't see videos of women suck, but we see the opposite. We see a lot of the opposite. Okay. And if you notice, he pointed out younger men and women. Okay. So this is, those are gases in air dissolved in seawater in equilibrium with air. That's the wrong chart. This is the chart I was looking for. Okay. So I think he's referring to Gen Z and beyond. This chart is from 3 to 4 years ago. So at that time, the youngest Gen Zers were around 25. So the future of this country and the future of humanity, in large part, is in the hands of Gen Z. Okay, regardless of those 54% of Black men who are single and childless, if someone slips in a buzzer beater and has a child late in life like Robert De Niro or Jeff Goldblum or Jerry Seinfeld, regardless of those guys, the entire species is in the hands of Gen Z right now. And he has just asserted that the men and the women don't like each other. All right.
And having the ick means that they are looking to the future with an eye towards how to go it alone, how to get their needs met in the absence of a historically useful plan. And I think this looks different to men and women because, ironically, despite some of the sensibilities that we've had shoved down our throat, men and women are different. And I think women, absent a partnership with men, are looking more or less to the state to provide.
Okay, so he just spoke to the re-engineering and the damage that the re-engineering has done. Men and women are different, and departing from the previous plan, the women will look to the state to support them. I might have messed that up. Let's go back and listen to that again.
Absent a partnership with men, are looking more or less to the state to provide.
Okay, so absent men, okay, these ladies he's talking about are going to be looking toward the state to take care of them, especially as they age, especially as they get older. That was in yesteryear, that was your husband's job, right? This was talked about. See, I don't want to bring his name up, but this was talked about on several shows. It used to be your husband, the woman would outlive the man and she'd receive his pension and his assets, and should I say their assets. Okay. But if there's no man, if there's no husband, who's going to do those things that they're going to need? I mean, we're not even talking about having the company and giving them personal attention. Okay. we're not talking about the emotional labor. We're talking about dollars and cents. So the government is going to be under this current, wherever this is going, the government is going to look, they're going to look to the government to play an increasing role. Okay. Some more social programs, maybe easier access to healthcare. But is that the government's job? If you made the choice not to reproduce and contribute to society, should the government take care of you? Should people's tax money be taken to subsidize your choice and your consequence? Or is your lot in life your lot in life?
And that leads to, I resist the idea that it's really a turn to the left, but it is a turn to the nominally left. And men are banding together and teaming up the way men do. And that has them moving towards something that I think it's more justified to call right or conservative. Now, I don't think any of this goes anywhere good. It does not result in a stable new equilibrium of some kind. It's certainly bad for people. Almost nobody is ahead of where their parents' or grandparents' generation was as a result of a more traditional mode of interaction.
So no one is ahead of where their parents and their grandparents' generation was. Think about that. No one is ahead of where they were. Mom and dad, grandma and grandpa, great grandma, great grandpa. No one is ahead today of where they were. So then that gets to another question, which I pondered when thinking about this yesterday. And this is a hard question for mom and dad and grandma and grandpa. Did they do enough passing on a blueprint for being together and doing what they did? Or did they teach the girls, okay, be independent of the guys, don't depend on the guys, you don't need a guy, get your degree first, be independent of them? So these older generations Brett's talking about, did they contribute to this by not passing on the template that they had? That is a rhetorical question. You guys can ponder that in the let me know what you think there in the chat. All right, let's go. In many families, I would say no, they did not. I think they assumed everything would just be fine and things would go on the way that they always did. Whoops. Spaceballs moment. That's me there. I think they assumed things would go on the way that they always went on and everyone would live happily ever after. Darn it, I did it again. All right. The deal, okay? It's the deal. There's Brett. And he comes back to this point in a little bit or something similar.
That said, one of the things I see is a burgeoning trad movement, which on the one hand does one of the things that must be done. It defends virtues that have been derided recently. But it is not a solution either. For one thing, even conservatives are availing themselves of birth control for very good reasons. It allows you to control how many children you have, when you have them, and that is a hard-won gain that actually has a great value.
So birth control, it allows you to have the amount of children that you want to have, but also it allows control, but it also can alter a female's endocrinology in such a way, depending upon which one, that she has no libido, and it can have an adverse effect on the man as well. So birth control is a Pandora's box all in itself, beyond just being able to control the birth of children. It has a slew of other effects.
But it also carries with it a kind of power for which we don't have the appropriate wisdom. So I don't think you can conserve your way out of this puzzle. What has to happen is a renegotiation of the arrangement between mankind and womankind. And I keep waiting to see that movement. What is the new way that we are to interact now that we, for example, have control over when and how many children to have? But I don't see it. And I'm frustrated by the chaos that is being engendered in the absence of that deal. I think, frankly, as time passes, and therefore the gap between the current generation that is forging relationships and the last generation that knew how to do it correctly, which
the current generation that is forging relationships and the past generations that knew how to do it correctly. So then you wonder, something I wonder is, even though they knew how to do it correctly, family formation, maintaining families, a lot of that involves duty, not personal happiness. And what you hear today, a lot of, is be happy, just be happy, be happy, do what makes you happy, 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 happy. I've wondered if people in those days, even though they knew how to do their duty, were they happy? With as much as being happy and traveling and going to brunch and playing video games all hours of the night, as much as that makes us happy, what were the people back then, were they happy?
might arguably be the silent generation. As that gap grows, the degree to which young people simply assume that a good romantic life is a myth, that likelihood goes up.
Okay, I'm going to go back, guys. This is only 7 minutes, so I'm taking my time with it slightly. That was powerful because what he did there is he leapt completely over the millennials. He leapt over Gen X, and he leapt over the baby boomers to the silent generation. So for Gen X, that's grandma and grandpa. So what he's saying is they knew how to create stable households. So then the question is, they knew how to have children and create stable households. Now, they didn't have birth control. Okay, maybe if grandma and grandpa had birth control, maybe some of us wouldn't be here. But in terms of duty and values, what did the silent generation have, and what did they know that either they stopped passing on, or the boomers and everyone else after them stopped passing on? I thought that was a critical point that he made here.
Assume that a good romantic life is a myth, that likelihood goes up. They see it as some sort of a story.
Hold on, I want to go back to that point he made about the generations.
Between the current generation that is forging relationships and the last generation that knew how to do it correctly, which might arguably be the silent generation.
And even saying how to do it correctly, by that will get you in trouble today. Well, it's all relative. Who are you to say what's correct and who isn't? How dare you say what's correct? How dare you say that a woman is supposed to focus on children and cooking and those motherly, those traditional things? Even just saying correctly will get you in hot water today.
As that gap grows, the degree to which young people simply assume that a good romantic life is a myth, that likelihood goes up. They see it as some sort of a story, and then you get realistic about, the defects of the other sex, and maybe you make some sort of transactional arrangement, but don't kid yourself, that's what it is, right? That view of men by women and women by men is absolutely toxic and dangerous.
So he's condemning the transactional nature of things, which has become the predominant template now. Though I am doing some self-study now, and I will divulge this. I won't share everything, but one of the things I'm reading is that romance isn't necessarily a good concept, because it essentially equates to worship of someone, and it's not sustainable for the long term. So it's actually a pretty dangerous concept. And even love itself, when you're thinking about pairing off, that shouldn't necessarily be the very first thing you think about. So that these are things that are in our environment now: romance, love, but those shouldn't be the primary concerns or primary considerations when thinking about pairing off. But that's a different topic.
Not least because the reason that evolution built humans the way it did, and we are very unique in this regard, the reason that we are constructed the way we are is for the purpose of child rearing. And that process of child rearing is not simple in humans. It's not straightforward the way it is in any other creature, frankly.
So this part really resonated with me, because when we think about humans versus the other members of the animal kingdom in church, we learn that, we're different than animals because we have free choice. God gave man dominion over the world. But from a biological standpoint, he's breaking down another significant difference biologically between humans and the other members of the animal kingdom. Let's go back to that point. I love this point.
Evolution built humans the way it did, and we are very unique in this regard. The reason that we are constructed the way we are is for the purpose of child rearing. And that process of child rearing is not simple in humans. It's not straightforward the way it is in any other creature, frankly, because humans are uniquely software-based creatures. That is to say, what you need to know in order to be an effective human being is not passed to you genetically. It is largely passed to you by parents who know something about their environment. And under normal circumstances, their environment would look an awful lot like the one that you were going to be an adult in.
I think there's a big disconnect there, because this environment right now looks a lot different than the one that my parents came of age in. And also what he just described goes back to the bull elephant experiment. Okay. A lot of what you need to know is not passed on to you genetically. We're humans. We have learned behaviors. We have cultures. We have religions. We have societies. We have civilizations. And there are certain things you need to know to live in these civilizations and to thrive in these civilizations. And if you do something as simple as strip the men out of the families, okay, you're going to make the whole thing come off the rails, which in some instances we've seen. So a very, very huge point that he made there. We don't get everything we need to learn how to live genetically as humans. Things have to be taught to us.
And so a passing of a coherent culture is the reason that human babies are so what we call altricial, meaning helpless when they're born, right? They have to be helpless in order to have their software program loaded on, and to get one loaded on that's relevant to the problems that they're going to face it is both the biggest vulnerability that humans have, and it is the biggest asset we have, because we can have our software program tailored to an environment that looks entirely different than one 10,000 miles away or 500 years in the past. So we need those partnerships. Parents are not there to provide resources and, warmth and keep the rain off. Yes, that's a prerequisite to raising a child. But the bulk of the job is in the conveying of wisdom about how to be a human being.
So right there's one of the issues with having a child or having children and then assuming I can just offload the kids onto the school, or we can just hire a nanny while we both go off to work, and that will be sufficient. Okay. He's arguing that, yes, you need to keep the lights on. You need to feed the child. You need to clothe the child. But the other more important part is passing on the culture, passing on values, passing on the wisdom. And we've gotten away from that. And he said, you need the pairing. You need the man and the woman together. Okay. Even saying that today will get you tarred and feathered by some people, because you're seeing a lot of ladies. I won't say a lot, but you're seeing a considerable. Well, I did the IVF stream maybe about 2 weeks ago, and a mama family. Okay, it's my family. I want to start my family. What is the danger of someone like Shonda Rhimes? Okay, Shonda Rhimes saying, "I don't want a man in my house." I think Keke Palmer. We're in the Black community now. Keke Palmer said a similar thing. I don't want a man in my house. Okay, well, let's go back and listen to what he it sounds like this gentleman has his detractors, but I think he's saying a lot of important things here in this discussion. And then I'll wrap this up.
Humans are uniquely software-based creatures. That is to say, what you need to know in order to be an effective human being is not passed to you genetically. It is largely passed to you by parents who know something about their environment. And under normal circumstances, their environment would look an awful lot like the one that you were going to be an adult in. And so a passing of a coherent culture is the reason that human babies are so what we call altricial, meaning helpless when they're born, right? They have to be helpless in order to have their software program loaded on, and to get one loaded on that's relevant to the problems that they're going to face it is both the biggest vulnerability that humans have, and it is the biggest asset we have, because we can have our software program tailored to an environment that looks entirely different than one 10,000 miles away or 500 years in the past. So we need those partnerships. Parents are not there to provide resources and, warmth and keep the rain off. Yes, that's a prerequisite to raising a child.
We need those partnerships. Does that conflict with Michelle Obama's rants and screeds about women are here to be more than just baby makers? Michelle talks. Women are here to be more than just baby makers. Okay. Is this consistent with that messaging? And if so, if not, is her messaging, is that damaging? Okay.
But the bulk of the job is in the conveying of wisdom about how to be a human being. And if men and women don't like each other, that job does not get done well. So civilization is depending on us solving this problem, and we are doing quite the opposite.
What if I told you this dish was actually healthy?
All right, everybody, that link is below in the description box. You can, you could just Google this or look this up, and I'm sure that will come right up. But salute to the Passport OG for putting that in your offering. That's where I saw this first. But one other thing, if you notice, he said that he mentioned the passing on of wisdom. Okay. So in values. Okay. So what is the danger? I mean, I know we all have single mother households in our families, right? Some of you guys might have come from one. My mother I was born in a marriage. My parents divorced when I was 3. But he mentioned it's the passing on of the wisdom and the values. So what's the danger of not having that male sphere there? Or what's the danger of having a child or children too young, even before you've accumulated wisdom yourself? There are a lot of dangers there. Yeah. There are a lot of dangers there. And I might have just gotten myself in trouble for saying that. But I'm just saying that he made a good point there, and I see what he was getting at. Okay. Part of that duty is pouring knowledge and wisdom into the young person as they are developing, so they can go out and but just the entire thing has been blown up and torn to shreds. So what's going to happen in the future? I think those of us in Gen X will start to see some of it. The boomers won't. I don't want to sound morbid, but they won't see the fruits of everything. I think we as Gen Xers will start to see it. The millennials, they'll see more. And then Gen Z and Gen Alpha, they will see a lot of whatever is coming. All right. Cynical Optimist, you're bringing up the rear this morning. Oh, that's Andre. Andre from the 51st state. Cynical Optimist, you're bringing up the rear this morning. Hey, I did start earlier. I am starting earlier so I can get to this class around noon, which I'm based upon the temperature here and the wind blowing outside. It's gonna be a struggle to get over there, but I'm gonna try to soldier through and get over there. Let's see. Andre says, thank you for all of the engagement and all of the eyeballs this morning. Andre says, I've been saying this can't be fixed for at least 3 to 4 generations. Yeah. Aaron Clary was on with Rollo Tomasi. For those of you who are unaware of them, just look them up. But Aaron said, and I interviewed Aaron on my main channel about his book, A World Without Men. And long story short, Aaron basically said, we're going to lose 2 generations with all of this re-engineering, with all of this, I don't need a man, with all of this decenter men are trash. We're going to lose two generations. And Sal, the Equalizer, he said something interesting when he came up on my panel, either here or over on my original channel. He said that he said families are going to inherit the earth. So I think there are going to be a lot of single people who die off, and what's going to be left are those families who reproduced. It won't happen like a Thanos snap, but it's going to be a gradual culling of the herd. And a lot of it will be self-inflicted and self-initiated. It won't be police violence. It won't be ICE. It won't be a jihad or some great war. A lot of it will be personal decision making. So there we are. All right. Let's see. Cynical optimist is giving the salute. I think that's to Andre. And then Andre, your comment might be the last one where you say people disagreed with me, including BGS, but they agree now. Andre, I don't have time to, unpack that, but I thought BGS has been saying for a while that the birth rate is at a dangerously low level, and things are a little far gone at this point. So I don't know what that means. Oh, that this can't be fixed for at least 3 to 4 generations. Is that what you meant? Okay. He said it was said about 1 to 2 generations. All right, everybody. I have to get ready to go. I'm gonna force myself outside into the cold to get to this class. But personal health, it matters. I woke up to a surprise. Someone bought my book off of the Amazon Marketplace. But if you want a signed copy, I'm selling the hardcover for $27 to my YouTube subs and the paperback for $22. And you can use one of those methods in the ticker, or you can go to my online store. My online store, this is the link here. Man, that wind is gusting outside. Andre, what's the temperature where you are? Here in DC, at least where I live, the wind is gusting out there, but it was like this during the when the hurricane came up the East Coast 10 years ago. If anyone goes to my online store, oops, get that out of here. If anyone goes to my online store, you can use the coupon code Go Blue, and that'll take $5 off the list price there. But if you use one of those, make sure you send me your mailing information the way Money Motion did, and I'll put that in the mail for you. It's a basketball story, but it's in large part about changed environments and male mentorship and the importance of male mentorship and how to survive and how to get along without it. Also, guys, before I wrap up, this is my brother AmahldUnbar's merch. He's making these t-shirts. This is Elijah McCoy, the inventor of the real McCoy, which was the self-lubricating engine trains. They mostly had steam engines up until the creation of the GG1. But he's creating this merch. Black inventors, Black scientists. I'm going to leave his email address here. It's also in the description box if you want one for yourself. He's making more of these. That email address is also below in the description box. All right, everyone. If you're watching on the playback, please like, share, and subscribe. Again, if you want to make a donation, that information is in the ticker and in the description box. Over on my main channel, my original channel, tomorrow, I'm hosting Dr. Ronald Neal. We're going to talk about his book, Beyond Death in Jails, particularly a few individuals from the book. Orlando Patterson, Ellis Coase, maybe a little bit of Robert Staples, Bell Hooks, and Walter Fluker and others. It's going to be a Black History Month theme. And the channel is called Big Discussions 76. Just chop off the science and technology part of the name. I'll probably share it on the community tab here as well. Anyhow, Andre says, peace and thank you for what you do, Doctor. Thank you, Andre, for your participation today. Afro Merchant, thank you for stopping through. And everybody, as always, remember that your attitude determines your altitude. Just hit my light. Do that again. As always, remember that your attitude determines your altitude. Always try to do your best. Take care, and I'll talk to you the next time. Bye-bye. And remember, everybody, valuable information can come from people of any color or ethnicity. All right.